It's so quiet. Good morning, and welcome to the regularly scheduled committee hearing of Arts, Parks, and Los Angeles River. We will start this meeting. We now have quorum, and I'm joined by Council members David Rue and Bob Blumenfield, and I officially call this meeting to order. What I'd like to start with is we have comment cards on every item and general public comment, and it looks like they're the only public comment cards that we have so far. So what I'd like to do is call Wayne from Encino up, and you have 5 minutes for your public comment and your other four items within 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, on Friday, it was tough, but David stood up to the 14 other members of the council and stopped the project in his district he didn't want. They went back there an hour in that closed session meeting room at Van Nuys and twisted his arm, and he even tried water torture, I hear, but no, a man stood up. Now, there's going to be political repercussions because David Rue is a little too young yet to know what's going to happen. Shit's going to happen. So
you need to keep
now
comments general and not
it is general
on any one council member.
It's about the Cahuenga project. It happens to be in CD4, and CD4 happens to be represented by David Rue. So I'm just here as a good Samaritan in the memory of Bill Rosendahl, as Bill Rosendahl would want me to do, to warn David Rue, shit's coming. And you got to be ready. So how do you get ready? Talk to those with experience. Talk to former councilmen that have experience, like Mike Hernandez. He has a lot of experience. Like Richard Anacon, he has experience. You need to talk to people that have experience so that you're ready for the battle ahead. Because the rest of these guys, they don't play that game. They know. It's an angry city right now. So tomorrow at the Santa Monica Catholic Church in Santa Monica will be the memorial mass. Now notice that they didn't hold it anywhere in the city of Los Angeles. They're holding it in Santa Monica. Why? Because Bill Rosendahl knew that the city of Los Angeles is a pile of shit. That's why. He won't even hold his memorial mass anywhere in the 471-mile radius of Los Angeles. It's going to be held in Santa Monica because Bill realized that Santa Monica is a far, far better place than LA City's ever going to be. First of all, I was the last person to see Bill Rosendahl in this building. It was at the Health Commission meeting late last year. Shook my hand, shook the Red Chief's hand, and we talked about the illegal arrest at the police commission, and he said he hoped it wasn't going to turn into terrible things. Smart man. If he was alive, he could work this out. I know he could work this out. He worked it out with Zuma Dog. He worked it out with a lot of people, but we lost a guy that can work things out. What are we left with? People that fight me. Over there in CD3, he fights me. He almost made me pay for a wall I shouldn't have built on my property. I'll never speak to my neighbor again. She builds 2 walls. And yet he sends me a letter dated March 31st, thanking me for being a good constituent, and it's a pleasure to represent me. Bullshit. Then we got the other one here, Peppa Pig Paul Koretz. Somebody starts chopping my hedges down at my Encino house. I found your friend. I found Mr. Chopper walking his dog on a Sunday morning in the fucking rain. I found him, okay? I found him. You know the motherfucker don't even talk to me. Chops my hedges down 21 times. And he can't even come up to me and say, Wayne, I'm sorry. No, nobody's sorry. And Bill Rosendahl, his prediction will come true. This city's going down the shitter. And that's why he's holding the service in Santa Monica, a neutral territory, because they know that this city's a poison pill. Otherwise, he would hold it in Venice, right? But they chose to hold it in Santa Monica, even though he loved Venice. Past tense. We all loved the city that Los Angeles used to be, and will always love the city it used to be. But now it's ran by gangsters and terrorists and thugs. So when David starts losing his projects in CD4, Wayne from Encino warned why. It's on the record, and he'll be able to sue for retaliatory project denials.
All right, we have been joined by Curran Price and Paul Koretz. And colleagues, what I'd like to do is take items 2, 3, and 4 on consent if there are no objections. Seeing as there are no objections, we will do just that. Items 2, 3, and 4 on consent, which brings us to item 1. Mr. CLA, please read item 1.
Item number 1, LA for Kids Steering Committee report relative to the revised scope for the Echo Park Skate Park, a Proposition K 8th competitive cycle project, to relocate the project site and increase the area of the skate park.
Thank you so much. And colleagues, we are joined by CAO Maria Cecilia Ramos, and from Bureau of Engineering, Mr. Neil Drucker. And this is a very exciting project that through a community process got a little fancier and a little more expensive, but we're going to end up with a really great skate park in Echo Park as a result. So if you would please begin.
Good morning, Maria Ramos with the Office of the CAO. Just a little bit of a background on this. The Echo Park Skate Park was a Proposition K.
Let's just hold for a second until we have a little quiet here. All right, thank you so much, and sorry about that interruption.
The Echo Park Skate Park was a Proposition K 8th competitive cycle, grant cycle that was awarded $500,000 in funding for construction of the park. The original project scope was a 3,000 square foot skate park, which was originally proposed to be located north of the Echo Park Recreation Center building between the play area and the picnic area. Due to safety and security concerns that were raised regarding the proximity of the park to the children's play area as well as the picnic area, it was agreed upon that the skate park should be located on the south side of the building at the existing abandoned swimming pool area. The relocation provides the physical separation between the park and the picnic area and the children's play area. Due to the relocation, it would increase the size of the park from 3,000 square feet to 7,000 square feet, and due to the increased project area size, the estimated project cost would be approximately $1.1 million. This would result in a project funding shortfall of approximately $632,000. BOE currently has stopped further design on the work because the proposed new location and expanded size of the park would require council approval, as well as due to the funding shortfall. We are currently working with BOE, with RAP, and the council office to identify funding for this project. Additional funding will be needed before project construction begins.
Thank you. Mr. Drucker.
Thank you, Councilman. Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering, and the Bureau supports the CAO recommendation. As you know, Councilman, we've been working with your office and Recreation Parks in the community. We've had a number, actually we've already had 2 community meetings, and the community strongly supports the new location. As Maria said, it provides a separation between the remainder of the park and the skate park, which tends to be a louder use, and the age group of the skaters tends to be a little bit older than the users of the park. This is, from everyone's knowledge, this is a smaller Echo Park that fronts along the 101 freeway rather than the larger Echo Park. And the area that was originally proposed for the skate park is right next to a picnic area as well as the children's playground, which is really geared towards younger children. And we all believe that this will be a much better project, a much safer park, and much less community intrusion if we relocate to the area which is now the site of the abandoned pool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And colleagues, this is an example of what was intentional or originally going to be a skate plaza that winded its way through a very tight space between a picnic area and a children's playground and very, very limited real estate, to moving it over to an area that is, as you said, an abandoned shallow pool for little ones. And it's also a location in Echo Park. There's such pent-up demand for skate parks across the city. And I think that it'll be very well attended. And skate parks aren't easy, as you know. They have to be located in areas where it causes minimal inconvenience to residents because skate parks are kind of noisy. So we have to find locations where that is not a big issue because of being in an area that can accommodate a noisy activity. And this location can certainly do that. It's something that I think the community has been wanting for a while, and I had the great privilege of coming into office and supporting that and advocating for that. So that's the upside, is that we're going to have really, I think, a world-class skate park, not just a plaza, but you mentioned it's doubling and then some in size. It's a pretty large area, and I think it'll be a skate park that rivals others in the city. And I think that what I also want to just illuminate for everyone is that we really need to collectively look into a strategic plan to place skate parks that currently aren't in parts of the city that badly need them. And I'm all in any way I can help while I'm chair of this committee to explore those locations across the city, and working with LA 84 and other nonprofits that are very, very close to the skate park community. I think in this increasing, growing activity, skateboarders are growing in numbers, and they're not necessarily so young anymore. Although we have a young skateboarder on the city council, his name is Bob Blumenfield. And I can't wait to take some lessons from you, Bob. But it's a very popular sport. In fact, I think it's going to be an Olympic sport if it hasn't already. I mean, it's certainly an X Games. So I really appreciate all the work that you've been doing on this. I definitely want to move forward because we will identify the rest of the funding that is going to happen. We have a good start with this amount of money for design and partial construction.
That's correct.
And so as we get the design underway, my office is aggressively looking at the funding gap and plugging that funding gap so that we can just move straight from design to construction and get the skate park dedicated in as reasonable amount of time as we possibly can. So with that, I'd like to, Mr. Price and then Mr. Corrett.
Yeah, I just want to second your support and appreciation for skate parks. We opened one recently in Gil Lindsay Park with the help of the skateboard impresario.
Is it Tony Hawk?
No.
Or?
No. Who's our guy? Drydeck.
Rob Deerdeck.
Rob Deerdeck.
Rob Deerdeck.
Deerdeck, yes. And, the skate park is just an overwhelming success. Kids come from all over, as it turns out. And they've been relatively safe, no problems, no issues. And so it's just been a real important addition to that park, a very positive addition. And I agree with you. The skate parks are in short supply citywide. And so anything we can do to encourage their development, I think we should, including public-private partnerships. To the extent we can do that.
And actually, I've already talked to the staff of CD13, and we will be approaching Mr. Deerdeck on this skate park as well as potentially Tony Hawk and others in the skateboard community to get their support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Koretz.
Yeah, this seems to be a wildly successful activity, although we see it in my district more on Fairfax because for whatever reason, skateboard stores have populated Fairfax Avenue. So not necessarily the perfect combination between a lot of frail Jewish seniors and lots of people on skateboards. It's not the way we would have structured it if we could, but that's the market. But I actually just have one odd question. It seems like a really good location. I'm just curious, what happened to the pool? Why was it shut down in the first place?
Neil, you can answer that, but I think I know the reason as well, because we improved
We
enlarged.
built the new, actually, we
Echo Park
rebuilt the Echo Park Deep Pool, which is a full-size indoor pool that can be used year-round. It's less than 2.5 blocks away from this pool. This pool was significantly damaged in the 1994 Northridge earthquake. It's received additional damage and additional earthquakes, as well as just the age of the facility. It's one of the oldest pools in the city. It's considered a shallow pool, so it's only really a play pool. It can't be used for competition. It can't be used for diving. It can't really be used for water safety instruction or any of the normal rec and parks pool activities. So that's the real reason, and there's enough other pools. Also, just to let you know, when we improved the Echo Park pool, at the same time, we also turned the Gliselle Park swimming pool into a year-round pool because we knew that the Echo Park pool would be out for over a year out of service.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the other one being built nearby.
Right, I think we dedicated that. It's in Council District 1 about 8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, the Echo Park Deep.
Yep.
Right.
Sounds about right.
And clearly, with the uses that kids seem to be interested in now, I think that's probably the best thing you could locate there. And I'm going to guess it will be full and fully utilized the day it opens.
That's a great point. It's also very visible. And so I think from a security standpoint, it makes sense for that location as well.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Especially versus the other location, the previously recommended location. This is right next to the freeway off-ramp. It's also right next to the Recreation Center building, so the Recreation Center director and staff could look right out on the skate park and see it without really even leaving their office, if necessary, as well as LAPD and the Highway Patrol will have full visibility from the freeway and from Bellevue, which is right next door.
And presumably, no matter how much noise the skaters could make, they probably won't be above the traffic noise level either.
Exactly.
They'd have to work pretty hard, yes.
Sure. Mr. Price, another question? Mr. Rue, I think you had something to say. Mr. Price, real quick.
Yeah,
as a
just
follow-up.
quickly, can you give us an idea of how many skate parks there are in the city? How many we've developed over the years?
Right. I know there's more than a dozen at the last time I counted, but I'd have to go
Okay.
through them in my head
That's
real
good.
quick. But somewhere around a dozen skate parks, and the hope, and in fact, as Councilman O'Farrell said earlier, the hope is that we could eventually have at least one skate park in each and every district, and some have multiple skate parks where we know that, skateboarding is truly one of the area regular things. And in fact, in your district, Mr. Koretz, I know I've actually driven and walked down a number of your streets, and they're used for skateboarding. And I think the reason is there's a lot of private plazas and open space that the skateboarders are able to get to. And what we've been asked for over the last few years is these plaza-type skate parks, which aren't like the traditional original skate parks that I was used to, which is an old pool, and see if you can actually get in there without killing yourself or injuring yourself. Now the skate parks that we're being requested to build are more plaza-like. They're series of steps and things that represent planters and curbs and gutters and things that you wouldn't necessarily think maybe are skateboarders' delights, but they truly are. And the things that we're seeing, and even the names of some of the things that the skate parks have in them, come from various plazas, a lot of them out of San Francisco and Los Angeles, where the skateboarders have actually called a feature. This type of feature is specifically what we want, and when you look it up in the internet under Wikipedia, you find out, oh, that's actually a corner in San Francisco that they've used for skating since the 1960s, so it's pretty interesting.
Yes. Mr. Rue.
Very exciting, Mr. Chairman, and I also like to note for the record, along with Bob, I used to be a skateboarder as well.
Okay, you're in.
I can't wait till we have one of these in my district as well, a new one. And you're right, it's also very dangerous when a lot of skateboarders are skateboarding the plaza. I know just right outside of my district, there's a huge open plaza like on Wilshire and Western. And, when they fall, the skateboards fly right onto the street. It's dangerous for the skateboarder as well as for moving cars and pedestrians. So that's very important. So quick question. So this is going to come back to us, or?
This will go to council from.
This will go to council from here. It would only have to come back to this committee is if there was funding that was approved, that had to be approved by this committee and/or Budget and Finance, and then ultimately Council to fully fund the project.
This will grant the authority to finish the design and then start the construction.
And find new monies.
And find additional funds, that's correct.
That's the most important part.
So once you're done with that, then you'll come on over to my district, right?
You bet. In fact, we won't even wait. Whenever you're ready, we could sit down and start talking about possibilities in your district, definitely.
Thank you. Mr. Blumenfield, the other skateboarder on the committee, don't you want to say something?
I just think it's great. I'm excited. I think we need more skate parks. The one in my district, which opened up over the summers, has been going gangbusters and it's always being used, and the skateboarders are treating it well. People thought there'd be all this graffiti on it, but it's actually, they sort of taking care of it themselves, and it's in an area that's known for gang activity and other things, and yet it's thriving. So I think it's a positive activity that the more we can put around the city, the better. So.
Terrific. So when will you teach a skateboarding clinic in your district at your new park? Because I will attend, and so will everyone else on this panel. You and David can teach us. All right.
Wednesday.
To be continued.
All right. Now, so just a few quick questions. Other sources that you're looking into to plug the funding gap?
Yeah, as I said, we're obviously looking to the private sources. We've been working with Recreation and Parks over the years, and they've done a very good job on developing relationships, not only with Bob Deerdeck, but others in the skateboard community. We're also looking at hopefully maybe some future Quimby funds in the area or other city funds or sites and facilities, but beyond that, the CAO would have to let us know.
We are looking into possible state recreation funds. We know there is a yearly fund. We just need to see if this fits the criteria. So there might be some funding there.
And as far as the design, about how long will that take to wrap up?
We have about 3 more months of design, and then we'll go into plan check. So approximately 4 months, and we'll be ready.
Terrific. So we're working against a pretty aggressive timeline to raise those funds.
Correct.
And my office is committed. We're also looking into other sources of revenue that may involve some of the discretionary monies that are available. We are going to get the skate park built for sure. So thank you for that. Without objection, we will approve this, move it forward, and it'll come to council, and then we'll get this going. Seeing as there's no objection, this item is approved. Thank you so much. And seeing as there are no other comment cards and no other agenda items, this meeting is adjourned.
Well.